slightly more than the top. That's why it's shrunk slightly. Okay. So I can get away with that. I could join that quite easily. Yeah. But if you want a nice flush fit, then you're going to have to do some adjusting, which I'm going to do now. So I'll put that one side. Now I'm going to have to centre this on.
Do you want this in as well, Frank?
Yeah, just keep an eye on what I'm doing on the wheel. So that's ready for this now. So if your bat's been standing for a while, all you need to do is just dampen it a bit. Pop this onto here. So it's the same principle as centering when turning. Where the mark is on the pot, you push the pot away. Okay. That's centre. Okay, so you can see that the mark is, you know, being made all the way around. So just tap the bat on the wheel. Make sure it's stuck. I'm just going to dampen the top edge. Now you can see that, you know, the top is slightly larger than the body, isn't it? So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to extend that a bit, just widen it. So I can just carefully just turn that out like that. How's that? Yeah. You think a bit more? Just a touch? And you see what that does is gives that little bit of continuity from the body
Just a bit better.
up into the lid. Now then, the joining, just turn that out a little bit more, and I'm maintaining that chamfer there, so that will sit on there quite comfortably now, won't it? So, first score. And I'm going to use a slip made on the wheel. make sure put enough on. Both sections. So you can see the clay is firmed up just enough for me to work it in this way. And you know, if you was doing a form that you didn't have to recenter, i.e. Like a teapot, for instance, you could do all this on the bench. So you can make all your sections, finish them, and then when they're leather hard, you can then cut and join, put it all together. Just tapping that to make sure it's joined. Now I'm not going to use copious amounts of water on this. I'm just applying a bit of pressure on the joint here now.
You're actually pressing on the joint itself.
Yes, that's right, yeah. I mean, I could use a tool and really force that joint together.
I'm not picking that up obviously, like it's around your side.
You can see I'm just holding the tool over the joint. Okay. Now if it was a joint where you had like an overhang like I did at the beginning, you can use a tool to actually blend that. So you can actually blend it, you know, similar to the way you blend when you slab build. You can just blend the two sections together.
On the wheel or just?
On the wheel, yeah. Right, I've disguised that joint nicely, haven't I? So that looks like it's been made in one. Okay. And if you can, you know, and this is a bottle form, so it's difficult for me to see inside, but I can just about see inside. I could hold a tool on the joint on the inside there. So that's sealing that joint there too. Okay. Now that's nice and soft, isn't it? So I'm just going to at the top. Now again, because I'm working towards the centre of the wheel, it's going to have to spin quite quickly for me to work this easily. So, you know, just take your time. So you can see the clay is still soft enough for me to work now, isn't it? just wetting the top of the pot. Okay. There's that.
Yeah, but what if you didn't want that bump there?
Which one?
That bump there in the joint, it sticks out, like, you know.
But I wanted it. I wanted that. That's part of the design, isn't it? You know, because I actually bulged that, so you know you've got the change in direction, so it's going up straight and then
Yeah,
going.
but can
up.
you get them joined together and so that they're
Seamlessly, seamlessly, yeah. If you imagine I was doing kind of a tall pot, I'd have to make sure that they're bang on. Yeah. Then when I put them together, as I've done here, it's a strap joint like chamfered edges. Drop together, make sure it's dead centre, it's got to be perfect, and then you seal the joint. And then what I would do is I'd start pulling up from about there, so I'd get my hand in the pot, you know, if that was the case, if it was right at the top, and then I'd pull up all the way, right to the top. So I'd be pulling the base and the top section into line.
So if it was that shape,
Yeah.
you wouldn't be able to get your hand in there
No.
to pull it up.
No.
So would there be, I mean, if Christine was doing this and didn't want a bulge there and wanted it to be sort of
Straight, yeah.
how would you do that?
Right. If the case was that you had a really tall pot, yeah, and you wanted a seamless joint here, so obviously what you would do, you'd have two cylinders, yeah. You'd have an open top so you could get your hand in.
And then put the other smaller bit on after.
Put the smaller bit on after. Yeah. So you could have a three section composite pot.
So if it was like that, you'd have to start pulling up from further down rather than starting from there to blend it in.
Yeah, to blend it in, to make sure everything's centred. Yeah. And you'd have to judge the clay so it's just right. So this is really softening up now. And if you want to make sure the top is really straight, can you just pass me a knife, please, Pete? Yeah. Okay. Let's cut this off.
Just like that.
So that's a nicely finished top now.
Easy peasy, Amy. Look at it.
There you go. I'll put those lines in as well. Okay.
Is that the end of it then?
That's it.
The fact that it's not,
We have
I
one
mean,
lot.
although you use that tool slightly inside them, if you couldn't get in there with that, it wouldn't matter if it wasn't blended together
No.
inside.
As long as you make a good job on the outside and there's a lot of slip there, then you know it should marry up. As long as you've got the two angles there and you push the two sections together, then the slip should hold it. As long as you blend the outside.